This September will be the last Reno Air Races forever, and a tragic mid-air kills 4 in Florida. We're going to talk about those and more on Taking Off. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken, and we've got lots of news. But first, a shout out to our sponsors who make these shows happen. I've got links below in the description and more information at the end. Let's get to it. Okay, tragic mid-air collision off Winter Haven Regional Airport in Florida on March 7th. And to set up this situation, Winter Haven is right in the middle of the Florida Peninsula between Tampa and Orlando, and about 13 nautical miles from Lakeland, where Sun and Fun is held every April. So a very busy airport there. The airport in Winter Haven is uncontrolled. No tower. It's surrounded by a bunch of different lakes. And one of the most reputable seaplane schools is located there at Winter Haven, Jack Brown's Seaplane Base. A Piper Cherokee with a student and instructor flying left Lakeland and flew over to Winter Haven and was performing pattern work. And at the same time, a pilot getting a refresher with an instructor in a J3 Cub with floats was maneuvering over Lake Hartridge, which is at the approach end of runway 29, the runway that was being used by the Cherokee. And as the Cherokee was entering the left base for runway 29 and descending, which is normal, the plane collided with the J3 Cub over the lake. And sadly, all 4 people died. I've read reports from recent students who say the J3 Cubs at the Seaplane School do have internal communication but no radios. These are the old school, non-electrical planes that have to be hand-propped to start. And this is not unusual. Airplanes are not required to have radios or ADS-B transponders in the airspace around Winter Haven Regional. However, just 2 nautical miles from the lake to the northeast, the Mode C Veil for Orlando kicks in, and airplanes flying in that airspace are required to have the ADS-B transponders. But again, this crash happened in an area where it is not required. And what can I take away as we wait for the NTSB prelim report is that even though I have ADS-B on my plane and use it to see other traffic on my displays, it's a reminder that in a lot of airspace it's not required, and I've got to keep an eye out for other planes. And that the low wing to high wing situation is something to doubly keep an eye out for. A low wing plane descending and a high wing plane under, neither pilots can see each other, really. A reminder to be extra vigilant, and so sad to see 4 lives lost in this accident. Okay, March 1st, Delta airline pilots approved a new compensation package, and this has seemed to unstall the American Airlines contract negotiations, maybe. American CEO Robert Isom wrote a letter to the pilots saying they're prepared to match what Delta has done, which is a big movement for the management over the last offer. But 2 days later, the union set up a strike vote for April. And even if a union votes for a strike in April, it would not take place right away. It could make for an interesting summer travel season. Okay, many of you have heard the news. This September will be the last Reno Stead National Championship Air Races, as the airport itself has decided not to renew after 60 years. And we'll talk about what that means and if the air races will live beyond this, but first, some history. In the 60s, a World War II veteran, Bill Stead, organized air races at a Reno dirt strip barely 2,000 feet long, and that took place in 64 and 65. And then it moved to the Stead Air Force Base, the base named after Bill's brother, Croston. The Air Force had closed the base in 66, and the field moved to public use, and the races have been held there ever since. And there have been 2 big interruptions of the air races in the 60 years. The races were canceled in September of 2001 following the grounding of U.S. aviation because of the 9/11 attacks. And then during the pandemic of 2020, the races were deferred to 2021. And prior to 2011, there had been 19 aviators who lost their lives during crashes, and then the tragedy of 2011. The P-51D Mustang Galloping Ghost, piloted by Jimmy Leeward, crashed near the stands, killing Leeward and 10 people watching. Also injured 69 others, and all remaining races were canceled. And since then, only 2 pilots have died, but most recently Aaron Hogue this past September. The air races implemented training and safety programs through the years and began requiring pilots that participate to have gone through these courses, and accidents were reduced over the years. And the air races have brought millions into the Reno area and has made a huge economic impact. But the Airport Authority Board, which licenses the air races every year, voted on March 9th to do it one more year and then no more. What are the issues? Why did they vote to sunset the races? Two main factors have been reported: the encroachment of growing and robust industrial and residential developments around the airport, and secondly, the rising cost of insurance. And I got the impression, reading interviews with the Air Races COO Tony Logoteta, that it's not a total surprise. Interestingly enough, at the same meeting, the Airport Authority Board did vote to approve a license for a traditional air show, and we'll see if anyone jumps at that. And as far as will the air races resurrect somewhere else, well, my money would be on that. There's plenty of local economies that would welcome the stimulus that the air races bring to a community. In fact, Tony reports his phone is already ringing off the hook. While it's a goodbye to the Reno Air Races this September, I don't believe it's a goodbye to the air races. Just my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, and finally, we've got a new podcast. You should be able to get it wherever you get your podcast from, but the home is takingoffpodcast.net. And you'll hear some behind the scenes stuff about how we come up with some of our videos, as well as discussion about crashes. And we'll bring in some talks from our hit series in the hangar. Check it out. And coming up real soon is the Randy Rhodes crash. And I'm making a video for it that we'll put on this channel. But Christy and I will go into deeper detail on the podcast. Also, I went ahead and set up a merch store right here on the YouTube page. I'm wearing a full zippered hoodie with the logo, and I've ordered some other products so I can check out the quality. So far, the quality is matching the price. And as some of you know, I'm real big about the quality. I did my own shirts and hats because I didn't want to be selling that thin, low quality t-shirt stuff that shrinks and unravels. I can't speak to the tees yet. They haven't come in, but the golf shirt and this hoodie, they're good. So check it out if you want some logoed merch down below. I'd like to thank our sponsors. We don't agree to partnerships easily or quickly. We use the products, we vet the companies. All these companies have great products and services, so please check them out. By ordering from them, buying from them, you're supporting us. And they're all run by pilots, so we can keep it in the aviation community. I did put links in the description below. And finally, check out Christy's video on the Patsy Cline crash. Remember, superior judgment trumps superior skills always. Take care.